In ancient Rome, the month of February began with a strange ritual.
For centuries, the Romans believed this ceremony purified their city.
The ritual was called Lupercalia.
It began beneath the Palatine Hill, where Rome itself was born.
There, hidden in shadow, lay the sacred cave called the Lupercal.
Romans believed this cave held the origin of their empire.
For here, legend says, a she-wolf once protected 2 abandoned children.
Those children would grow to found the city of Rome. And every year, Rome returned here to honor that myth. The festival would begin with priests, known as the Luperci.
The Luperci were young priests chosen to perform Rome's oldest rite.
They gathered inside the Lupercal cave before the ritual began.
2 animals were brought forward for sacrifice. A goat, symbol of wild fertility. And a dog, guardian against the wolves.
The sacrificial blade rose above the altar.
In a single motion, the sacrifice began.
Blood spilled across the ancient stone floor. The priests dipped the blade into the fresh blood.
The blood marked the young priests as part of the ancient rite.
But the ritual demanded something unexpected.
The blood was wiped away with wool dipped in milk.
And at that moment, the young priests had to laugh.
The cave echoed with laughter as the ritual turned to celebration.
With the sacrifice complete, the ritual continued. The skin of the goat was carefully removed. The hide was cut into long strips.
These sacred strips were called Februa. And with them, the priests would run through Rome. Now the wildest part of the ritual began.
The young priests ran through the streets of Rome.
Nearly naked, they carried the sacred strips of goatskin.
The crowd gathered along the ancient roads.
And Rome erupted into celebration.
As the priests ran, they struck the crowd with the sacred straps.
Women waited along the roads for the ritual touch. Many reached out their hands willingly.
They believed the strike carried a blessing.
A blessing for fertility and healthy children.
Soon the entire city joined the celebration.
The streets of Rome echoed with laughter and shouting.
The Luperci ran faster through the heart of the city.
The ancient festival had become a wild celebration. But Lupercalia was more than a festival.
In 44 BC, Lupercalia witnessed a moment of history.
Mark Antony stepped forward before the crowd.
In his hands, he carried a royal crown. He offered the crown to Julius Caesar.
But Caesar refused the crown before the people of Rome. The crowd erupted in cheers across the Roman Forum.
The festival continued beneath the towering temples.
The priests continued their ritual run.
The sacred leather straps still swung through the air.
For Rome, the ritual meant life and renewal.
As the sun began to fall, the festival slowly faded. The crowds slowly drifted away from the ancient streets. The priests returned toward the Palatine Hill. The sacred cave grew quiet once again. But the memory of the ritual would endure.
For generations, Romans remembered the ancient festival.
But Rome itself would eventually change.
New beliefs began to rise across the empire.
The ancient pagan rituals slowly faded.
And one day, Lupercalia disappeared from Rome. As centuries passed, Rome slowly transformed.
The empire that created the ritual began to change.
Old gods slowly lost their place in Roman life.
The sacred cave of Lupercal stood silent.
But history would never forget the ritual.
For generations, Romans remembered the ancient festival. The cave of Lupercal became a silent relic. The gods of old Rome slowly faded into legend.
But their rituals shaped the soul of Rome.
And Lupercalia remains one of Rome's strangest rituals.